This video demonstrates how to move a collection of columns in Excel workbooks by using the Python library OpenPyXL. In our testing document, you can see a handful of columns of data in columns A through C. We have a series of random numbers in each column. I will be moving columns A and B to columns F and G. This demonstration will be most helpful when you know where the columns originate and where they will be relocated to. Here I'm bringing in the workbook as WB, and I'm selecting the worksheet as WS. I will then save the work in the cell below. To start, I'm going to import the column index from string function from the utils.cell module of OpenPyXL. This function converts a letter to a number, which will be useful in our relocation of the columns. For the next step in the process, I need to find out the last row of data in the document. This is very important as it will ensure I am capturing every cell of the column. The best way to do this is use the max row attribute of the worksheet. It's especially useful for very large data sets. Here you can see my max row is 11. And now here is where all the heavy lifting is done. It might look a little complicated, but it's actually very straightforward. Let me walk through line by line what is happening here. First, we iterate through a range of numbers, the first row being 1 and the last row being the max row variable plus 1. The range function does not include the second number in the range, so I have to add 1 to make sure I am accurately capturing every single row of data for that column. I then need to iterate through each column that I want to affect. You can see I am using variables called callOriginal and callDestination to be explicit about where I am in the document as I'm modifying the contents of the cell. CallOriginal and callDestination are assigned a value within the tuple as the loop executes. CallOriginal is the first value in the tuple. CallDestination is the second. So we'll be moving the contents from column A to column F and B to G. For the next part, I have to do some conversions. OpenPyXL needs to have these column letters converted to numbers so the worksheet's cell function can properly understand the location of the cell within the document. So these two lines use the column index from string function, which I imported above, to collect the corresponding number of the column based upon the letter that I provide that function. So I'm capturing the column num of the original column here and the column num of the destination column right below it. I then access the value of the cell I want to use with the worksheet's cell function. As this for loop cycles through, I will be incrementing up the rows and moving across columns, as you can see right here when I am assigning row to be this row loop variable and also using the column number variables. The value attribute of this cell will give me the exact value of that cell as it's displayed in the cell when the workbook is open. You can see I assign this value to the value to move variable. Next, I have two value assignments happening. You can see these last two lines of code are doing the exact same thing, accessing a value of a location and assigning it something. The first one is specifying the column I'm moving the value to, and the second one states the column wherein the value is coming from. For the destination line, I am assigning the value to move variable, and for the original, I am assigning the value none. Assigning this value to none makes it an empty cell. Let me execute this cell. I will save the workbook and see if we were able to successfully move 2 of the 3 columns. And there you have it. The contents previously contained in column A and B now exist only in column F and G. So it's very simple. First, isolate the max row of the columns of interest. Then start a for loop in which you create another for loop specifying where the data is from and where you want it to move. Then make the appropriate value assignments so you are introducing the content to a new column and removing it from the original. Thank you for stopping by and checking out this video on moving multiple columns with OpenPyXL. Please give the video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see future videos on OpenPyXL, Python, or Excel in general. And don't forget to hit subscribe so that you know when the next video comes out.